butterflies return someday.
And now, your host of Survivor Eye Podcast, Tonya G.J. Prince. Fact check. Were the majority of men's first sexual experience rape?
Myth. First sexual experience for majority of men was rape.
Fact. Statistically, 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before they turn 18 years old. 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before they turn 18 years old. Now, furthermore, 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted while in college. 1 in 16 men are sexually assaulted while in college. Now that's according to that last piece is according to the National Sexual Violence Resource Center. Another fact about male sexual violence victims: about 3% of American men, 3% or 1 in 33, have experienced an attempted or completed rape in their lifetimes. About 3% of American men. I don't think I have stats for the other countries. But now, as always, we caution that even though we have, statistics, sexual violence tends to be the most underreported crime. That's for every demographic. Sexual violence is the most underreported crime. Still, with the social media posts saying that the majority of men, you need a lot to make up to go from 3% to 51%. So just saying, not to weaken, not to ignore, not to silence, but to say that because we have so many I hate to say disbelievers because it's not a faith, but because we have so many folk who do challenge the facts, and those people are in charge of the monies and resources and the time allotment and space and all of that, and not just that, to go about the work of domestic violence and sexual violence is to deal with a lot of misinformation. That's a word, very popular right now. But listen, misinformation is just a part of the job for a lot of different people, and definitely for advocates against domestic and sexual violence and abuse and child abuse and the like. So much misinformation out there. My goodness. So speaking of, there was a post today that I saw on social media, and I believe this person was well intentioned when she said the majority of males' first sexual experience was through rape. The majority of males' first sexual experience was through rape. I'm gonna call that, I've done this 30 years now. I've never seen any peer-reviewed or reputable research on that. Not to mention, I do, despite what people think, I do counsel men. Not just that. A lot of the males that I work with are counselors, writers, authors. They've been doing this all their lives as well. And listening to them, listening to their stories of the persons that they work with and their own personal testimony, I know that a lot of boys have encountered an older woman, an older child, and an adult male, and that was their first experience. And we don't treat that as the statutory rape or the abuse that it is, because we've been sold this, notion that men are always gonna, act on their hormones, and maybe, listen, biologically, it is exciting for them, biologically, but mentally, it can do an entire entire lifetime of damage. Damage to self-esteem, self-confidence, self-image, relationships. Wow, just so much. Just the stories are just, when you talk to men who've healed, who are on the, let's say that, not healed as with the ED, but are on the healing journey, actively healing, and they talk about this part of their lives. Yeah, it's oh wow, it's damaging. Now, I'd say one of the first times I heard about a male going back and really surveying the damage that this statutory rape did to their lives was listening to an audio book. It was a memoir by Kwesi Mfume, and I'll probably put that in the notes for you. Former congressman, and I'm not sure what he's doing now. He's always doing great, big, wonderful things, but he definitely talked about, although he had a lot of career success, there were aspects of his life that were heavily damaged by statutory rape that he experienced growing up. I believe it was in Baltimore, and having older women pursue him. I think I listened to that book a few times because the insights were great. So I'm going to park that there and say that is quite likely a myth, and it's important that we have empathy, and we open our hearts to people. We listen to people. We try to comfort people and be there for people, support people. And we can do that in truth. We really can. And it's best that we do. It's best in the short term. It's best in the long term. And I'm going to reach out now, something I usually don't do. But, we talk about male podcasts, and I hope that more male-led podcasts will feature stories from people, from males, boys, dealing with abuse and what it did to them. I forget the gentleman's name, Jerry Sandusky's, they call him Victim 1, for the criminal case purposes. Jerry Sandusky, one of the Victim 2 is another. Wow. It's a hard read, but let me tell you, it's a great read because the story interchanges between the now he's an adult male, and his counselor, who he first reached out to, a male counselor, and that I'm telling you, is so impactful. Okay, we got the book. The name of the book is Silent No More, and Aaron Fisher is that brave, courageous survivor who came forward and spoke about the terror that he was put through. Difficult read, but really great in terms of education, widening our lens to what it's like for boys, average everyday boy, being targeted this way. It's a great read. I recommend it. I'm going to put some other books up too. We used to have a listing of quite a number of books because that's some insightful stuff. So, like I said, I encourage male-led podcasters to please have these stories on, because while I don't agree with the stat, and I can be a stickler about these things simply because experience teaches me we got to do this and do this in such a way that we are careful to speak truth, as much to to the degree that we are able, and we can speak, we can speak truth on this, and say that too many first sexual experience, way too many, was through some sort of rape. Another one is coming to my mind. Donnie McClurkin, the gospel singer, talks about being assaulted by his uncle during the time. The story goes, Donnie McClurkin, when he was a young boy, was babysitting his much younger brother. Unfortunately, his much younger brother was hit by a car, and Donnie was watching him, and so there was this guilt and shame and all that this child felt, and Donnie's mother needed to go away to heal so that she could come back and raise her children. And while he talks in the book about while his mom was away, someone was, more than one person was praying on him, an older child and in the family, and a relative. That's another book. I forget what that book is called, but I'll put that in the notes too. But yeah, if we could open our hearts to males and allowing them to tell their stories and share what happened with them and be supported and not be told that it was for their benefit or for their good or they were lucky or something silly and non-healing like that. That would be humane. That would be humane. So anyway, as always, let's keep on telling these stories. We're going to be doing a series for storytellers, or those who are telling stories now, and those who may want to get into telling stories. We're gonna dig into that, to give you guys some support on that, because we need more folk out there, getting the word out on healing, hope, awareness, and prevention. You guys, thank you so much for listening. I wish you abundant blessings. Y'all be great. All right.